any further ado, Richard Vobes.
Afternoon. It's very strange, isn't it? You may know that I do, in my little talks that I used to do a bit of mime and stuff. So I never quite feel comfortable unless I've done a little bit of mime. Just to use the old skills. Anyway, we're here for a much more serious thing. Do come in and have a sit down at the back. That's very kind of you. I know it's sunny outside. Have you noticed that there's been, this morning anyway, when we were driving in, no chemtrails? That's because you lot must be all the pilots. You've had a day off. That's nice, isn't it? Now, it says in the brochure I'm going to talk, it says there council tax and something else. I can't remember what the other thing. Common law. What the hell do I know about the council tax and common law? I'm just a YouTuber who got it a bit lucky when one day I said, is Neil Oliver right? Turns out he was. And everything we know now, like, you know, the government's trying to kill us. And, oh, by the way, does anybody know if Klaus Schwab is dead? Is he gone? There's all sorts of dodgy rumours going around. Well, I mean, you know, I don't know what's happened to the king. Anyone seen Kate? Where are they all going? And have we got tickets? Anyone got tickets to who wants to join them? Not me. Anyway, so I'm supposed to talk about common law and council tax. Now, of course, as you know, if you've seen my show, I do this tiny little YouTube thing. I do once in a blue moon. And I've had a few rather interesting people who've, let's say, told us that legislation isn't quite what it seems to be. That actually, if you decide that you're not in, what shall we say, the corporate Britain, the UK jurisdiction, you can take yourself out into the private, which is a very nice place, thanks very much. And you can tell all these people who've written billions and billions of rules, which not only do they not know, but there's no way that you and I could know what they are, and tell them to buzz off. And to be honest, it does seem like that would be a good time, because the pressure, are you feeling the pressure at the moment? Everywhere? Did you manage to find somewhere to park where you didn't have to use a phone app? We did, actually. There's a car park just over there, a £5 a day. People going, I put 20 quid in. Corporate Britain. If people are not waking up now to the fact that you only have to step outside your door, as a viewer said to me, my mother stepped outside the door to take her dog down to her friend a few doors down, and someone from the council, excuse me, have you got a little bag there in case your dog does a whoopsie? This woman was in her 80s, and I'm closing in on that day, actually, the 80s, 20 years. And she's only going down the road to see a friend with her little poodle. Come on, love, come on. Where we go? Don't muck about. We're going down. Look, councilman coming. Quick. And she was fined £100 for not having a poo bag on her. The dog had not done an infringement. It had yet to go. And already this Mr. Nobody, jumped up person, only doing my job. Isn't that what the Nazi officers said at Nuremberg? As they turned the gas off, just doing my job. This will be very quick. No point banging at the door. That's not an excuse, is it? And years and years ago, about 30 years ago, when my kids were that sort of size, I used to be an entertainer. You may not have guessed. And I used to do all sorts of bits and bobs, but every now and again, it's as an entertainer in the sort of theatre profession, it can be quite lean. And sometimes money doesn't come in, and there was a whole long period when money didn't come in, and we couldn't pay something called the council tax. And I remember going to the council office, and they were all, that was the days before they were behind the screens, you know, before the days when people would come in and throw things at them, or breathe on them, or pretend that there's a germ flying around that might kill them. And they were all doing it long before that, 30 odd years ago. And I remember going in there saying, look, I'm really sorry, I'm a bit behind with the council tax, and you've sent me this thing saying that if I don't pay it, you're going to take me to court. Well, you know, work's a bit rubbish. I'm an entertainer at the moment. I know I'm not very entertaining at the moment because I'm worried about going to prison and stuff, but I am an entertainer. And these are my children. And they said, no, if you can't pay it, I'm afraid you're going to have some CCGs, and that's it. You won't be able to borrow any money. We're going to do this. We could possibly take the house away. We'll have bailiffs coming to the door. All this kind of nonsense. And I'm, as I say, a bit of an entertainer, so I got down on one knee. I wasn't going to go, Mummy, any of that sort of stuff. I got down on one knee and I said, no, please. I had the kids with me, they were very small. I said, please don't do this. I said, it's very tricky. And the room was full of others, by the way, young mums and what have you, and their kids, and they're all looking at me as if I'm some poor idiot. And I go, please don't do this. And the red-faced, embarrassed front of staff was like going, oh, please don't do this. Because they don't like it if suddenly human emotions erupt. Because we don't show our emotions, we just sort of go, we shout at them. And so I was begging them. I said, please don't do that. I really genuinely got down and I begged them. I said, please, please. My wife and my two eyelids, I've got to support them. And the kids were there, they're going, what are you doing, Dad? I said, just look sad. Can you look thinner? Like we haven't eaten for months. I'm down there like this. No emotion from these people. I mean, they can't. They've obviously been trained. And now we know what it's like. If any of us have decided we don't want to pay this council tax because we know actually a portion of that money is disappearing overseas and we're seeing innocent men, women and children going into an early grave due to no fault of our own, and we don't want to contribute to it. Thank you very much. And for a moment there, I thought maybe you do. Just, slightly worried, because sometimes they can change the audience without you knowing. And the next thing it's tomatoes. Anyway, so I did that, and I had the CCJ, and we had no furniture or anything like that, and it was a very poor house back in those days, in the 90s. But I remember I did get a job, and I went off, and I came back, and my wife at the time said, we had a bailiff come. And I said, well, I thought I told you don't open the door. He says, no, I didn't open the door. He looked through the window, he looked at the state of the house, there was no furniture, everything was second-hand, and they went away. So if you want to beat the bailiffs, just get rid of everything. Don't let them take it. So, the thing is, though, everything is so anti-human at the moment. And that's really my point, is these councils and the laws, the legislation, not the common law. Well, common law, there's lots of different definitions for common law, because it's sort of case law and then it's kind of not case law, and all the different people on my show tell me different versions, so I get incredibly confused. Do you get confused watching my show? Because everyone comes with a different blooming nuance, and you think, I've got it. Chris Coverdale, brilliant. What are you saying, Sovereign Pete? Got to stand in my this, got to do, right, okay, I've got to do that. And everyone's got something different, which makes it very complicated. And then I'll come out and it'll say, you've got to talk about council tax and common law. And I'll go, okay, I'm not really qualified to do any of that. I'll do my best. And then I look at the audience and I know, oh yeah, you all know much more than I do. Not only that, you've been standing up there in the councils, or rather in the court, saying, whatever it is that you say these days when you go into court to get yourself out or get into hot water. And you're much more experienced than I am. My worry, and this is sort of serious, is people watch shows like mine, they'll listen to one particular person, and they'll go, oh, right, okay, I'm going to do that then. And the thing is, the truth is, I mean, I've been doing this sort of thing with people like Sovereign Pete and Chris Coverdale and many of the others that we've had on for sort of 16 months straight, and I'm still trying to understand the process and the confidence. And I am fighting the council tax now, I am fighting the water board, I am fighting HMRC, and fighting Rundle's enforcement agents who want to take my van. There's probably a representative in here now, hearing I've parked around the corner, is going to take the bloody thing away. Oi! You've got to you've got to really understand and be confident and know the system, because it is no good just writing these templates and sending them off and then hoping that's it, because if they come back, you need to know how to stand in your sovereignty, how to be in your own jurisdiction and all of that. It is a long, difficult process to get your head round, and I'm sure there's people here who are just continually fighting. The great thing is we had someone on yesterday, Greg Fraun, not Greg, Gary, thank you very much, I thought the name sounded wrong, who said you've got to just have fun with it. And if we're not having fun with it, then what's the point? And fighting all these sort of battles, you know, me going into the council on a bit of an actor, oh, please don't get to me, oh, please, you've been kicking us out the street. I mean, they don't care. But I had a bit of fun, the kids were a bit embarrassed. They don't talk about that, so the day that Dad humiliated them. But it proved to me that these people have been programmed to the point that, you know, they don't care. However, somebody did send me an internal document from the councils, like an internal magazine, and it did say the front of house staff of the councils are demoralised because they don't want to treat people that way. You know, because they've been trained just to do their job. It's no excuse, but they have been trained that way. It's the people above who've put that job on them, and they have to say, no thanks, you know, you've got to pay it, we'll take you to court, put you through the bulk, there's no liability order. They don't, really it'd be much nicer if they told you the truth and told you, you know, you don't have to pay it, mate, really, because actually it's all illegal anyway, you'll be aiding and abetting. But they don't know. How long am I on time? Wait a minute. I'm like the white rabbit here. I'm late. Oh, a couple of more minutes. Common law, natural law, God's law, their bloody law, my law, your law. Ultimately, somebody said to me in a show recently, or I can't remember because sometimes loads of people talk to me, as you're probably aware, said to me, it comes down to morality. Ultimately, who is going to tell you what is right or wrong? We all know deep in our heart what is right. I mean, we had Kimberly just now with the kids. We know kids should not be sexualised. We know that. Those teachers who are following, just doing my job, at some point we've got to get that morality back across the world, have we not? Because it's there. So on my final thing really, because I'm not really that, I can't give any legal advice or even natural law advice really, other than do what you feel is right. But on this, the best thing for waking up the world, in my opinion, is to ask people questions. Why does the sky look like they've just mowed the lawn? Why that plane's vapour trails disappear and that one stays for the day and then casts the sky into overcast? You know, just asking people simple questions like our neighbours and people in the, I was going to say in the shopping centres, but in the supermarkets, but don't go to the supermarkets, go to the local farms, of course, and all of that. Don't eat the highly processed crap they're feeding them. But just ask people questions at the bus stops, you know, just ask them, get them into conversation. A young bloke of 29, same age as my youngest son, said to me when he was interviewing me, he said, I envy you because your generation, and when I look round I can see my generation reflected back at me, he said, I envy you because you can just start a conversation with anybody. These younger people in their 30s and below, because they've been trained on these phones, they don't know how to start a conversation. So it is up to us to get conversations going. We are the future signposts. And when people wake up, and they will, and they're going to, this is the great year of the revelations, and it's already happening, it's all going to, they're going to need to talk to people. And you are the ones who've been thinking about this, you've been doing the research, and as more and more people are beginning to wake up and they want to have that conversation, instigate it, engage them, talk to them, because we're going to push the future generation in the correct direction. And we'll show them what to do. Meanwhile, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you.
When I've had a gin and tonic, Stuart, not